Hey lovelies! So I know as well as anyone how hard it can be to keep our eating on track, which is why today I want to share 10 simple things you can be doing each and every day to eat a little better. And of course, eating a little better every day means you are a lot healthier in the long run. For our first tip, we're starting with the most important meal of the day, breakfast. One easy way to get your eating on track is to enjoy a savory breakfast as opposed to a sweet one. Sweet breakfasts tend to spike your blood sugar, which can inevitably lead to a mid-morning crash. In my world, that means a second, third, sometimes fourth cup of coffee, which of course we know is not ideal. Enjoying a savory breakfast with a good balance of fiber, protein, and fat helps stabilize my blood sugar and keeps cravings at bay. Next, let's talk about our greens. Whether you love them or hate them, I think we can all agree it's hard to get 5 to 10 servings of fruits and veggies in our diet a day, which is why it's so important to start in the morning. I like to try to sneak as many greens as I possibly can in at breakfast. That way I am way more likely to hit my targets by dinner. Which is why I often recommend a yummy kale smoothie first thing in the morning, then a satisfying salad for lunch, and finally wrapping things up with a veggie-packed dinner. Next, let's talk protein. Now, I'm sure you've heard it all before. Protein is super important to a balanced diet, not only because it contributes to the growth and health of your muscles, but also because it leaves you feeling full and satisfied at every meal, which of course we know is the secret to keeping our eating on track. But it's important to remember that not all proteins are created equal. So I always recommend limiting processed proteins, things like deli meats, nuggets, and even sausage. That way you avoid excess sodium and a whole lot of unnecessary additives. Opt instead for lean proteins, things like chicken, fish, and beef that you're cooking at home. Also, you want to load up on plant-based protein sources when you can. Things like quinoa, tofu, and rice and beans are all great options. Speaking of beans, they don't call them the magical fruit for nothing. Beans are great for your gut and your overall health. Plus, they're full of protein and fiber, which helps you feel fuller longer. Not to mention the fact that because they're virtually flavorless, they can be added to all sorts of recipes to amp up the nutrition without affecting the flavor. My next tip is to go Mediterranean whenever you can. Now, if you can't travel to Greece to do that, then you can at least do it with your diet. We all know the Mediterranean diet is now considered one of the healthiest on earth, thanks to the inclusion of heart-healthy fats, lean proteins, and loads of vegetables. I recommend making at least one meal a day Mediterranean-inspired. Both your waistline and your taste buds will thank you. My next important piece of advice is to chew, chew, chew. You always want to opt for crunchy dishes over mushy ones when you're trying to eat better. The more you chew, the slower you're forced to eat. So things like soups, stews, and oatmeals will get consumed way more quickly and in larger volumes than something like this crunchy chickpea salad. When you're trying to eat well, I also recommend getting a little nutty, and seedy for that matter. We know that nuts and seeds are packed with nutrition, so try adding a handful to each meal. You can start by adding a little flax to your morning smoothie, or using some almond butter in your fave salad dressing. You can have some chia pudding for snack, and of course you can always make nuts a big part of your dinner as well. Now I'll just say it, in my experience, the single greatest enemy to eating well is hunger. So I always recommend snacking whenever you need to help get you through to your next meal. Because the hungrier you are, the more likely you will be to make poor food choices and overeat. To stave off hunger between meals, always have healthy snacks on hand. The best snacks have a good balance of protein, fat, and complex carbs. So snack smart and snack often. Finally, guys, as far as I'm concerned, the one surefire way to keep your eating on track is to make sure that you are cooking and eating at home. It sounds really simple, but by eating foods that you've prepared at home, you can control the sodium, excess additives, and use good quality ingredients to make sure you are maximizing nutrition at each and every meal. I hope you guys found these tips helpful and that you'll try them for yourselves at home. If there are any tips that you find really useful when it comes to eating well, please leave those in the comment section because I always love hearing from you. Keep in mind, all of the yummy recipes you saw in today's video are on healthymealplans.com, our awesome meal planning site, which allows you to browse recipes, plan your meal for the week, and then create your grocery list. It's an amazing tool if you're trying to get your eating on track. And finally, if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe because there is lots more deliciousness where this came from.